This is another installment of Pinnery's Breast Stupa Cookery here at Montalvo. Montalvo is an artist residency, an arts center in Northern California. Pinnery approached me to do a breast stupa cookery, and when she first asked me, I thought, what is breast stupa cookery? And one thing I've noticed here as a cook, I'm sometimes a little too practical and not as creative as I could be. And so when I heard that, I thought, oh boy, I have to think. But as I spoke to Pinnery more and saw examples of her past projects, I was very excited. I thought the fact that she was using the word stupa, sort of changing its form, which is often associated with temples. It's a sacred sort of object or monument, and putting that into the form of a breast, and then having that breast be a vessel for food, I just thought was fantastic. I chose this form for the main course because it's quite substantial. I needed something large. I also think we're having chicken and rice and nuts and dried fruit, and it feels very nourishing, and this is just sort of a substantial, nourishing looking form to me. And it has a real presence, so I wanted the main course to have that weight to it. So the filling for our breast stupa main course is chicken, sauteed, really caramelized onions. They were cooked for a while. Chickpeas, pine nuts, currants, dates, and then sumac, which is a spice, cinnamon, cardamom, hot pepper. When I was composing the menu for last night, the breast stupa cookery, I began with the panna cotta. I thought milk is a natural thing to put into a breast stupa mold, and I wanted to use raw milk and raw cream just to play on both the homogenization of our food system and I think the lack of variation and naturalness that we accept in human bodies, women's bodies, our definition of womanhood. So I sort of wanted to play on that. These are breast stupas. This is breast stupa cookery. This is a smaller mold. There are many out there, and this I think is a good size for panna cotta, not too big. And I think they're quite beautiful, but we'll unmold the panna cotta, so it'll just be a white breast stupa with figs, which have a similar shape, and a similar female connotation. So I think that will be fun. I'm going to take out the chicken pies from the oven and do a dramatic flip. Hey, that's nice looking. It's a nice breast. Said all breasts are different. All of these chicken pies will look different. This one is a little flatter. Not as brown, but breasts are not perfect. Nor are they the same. nice too. Oh, the chicken pie is steaming right now. There we go. What I'm putting into the breast stupas now is tomato sorbet with a little tarragon, and it will open our meal. Well, I believe very strongly in cooking according to what's in season, and partly because I think it tastes much better. I think the food just comes alive. You know, tomatoes are becoming ripe now, and they are amazing. And also because that supports a kind of agriculture that I believe is better for the land and our bodies, and it's appropriate to particular landscapes. Doesn't require as much energy to grow tomatoes when they should be grown as opposed to in January. So I went to the farmer's market in Santa Cruz on Wednesday and found a lot of beautiful tomatoes. We have more over there. Asparagus, which we'll have tonight, as well as things that have been growing in the garden. But I sort of like to see what's most beautiful, and then that guides the menu. Why don't you put it right there?
Delish. Back off, get your own.
Fine.
We came up with a very similar idea.
Oh,
Yeah,
did that project come to fruition also?
yeah, I mean, we've shown it a few times.
I selected this stupa because it reminded me of the Valkyries. If you actually look at it, it's a very strange thing. This is a very iconic shape. You know, you can see this in a number of places. Now, the average person might think of this as, you know, one of those caps you wore when you had to go to the corner and because you were a dummy, or one of those lovely caps that one of the caps you might see as part of the Valkyries, you know, Wagner and everything, as well as the fact that it serves as a beautiful vessel when turned upside down. There's something about the weight of it, especially because it's silver. So it has this chalice effect in a certain way, and the circular quality of the pounded metal, as well as the smooth quality within. And, you know, it just serves so many things. So to me, it becomes this versatile, constantly shifting object. And because it is not totally symmetrical, it has a clear identity. You know, there's a human quality that's woven into it. What can I say? It's ornamental in a way, because silver works in that way. But it could be steel, it could be silver, it could be whatever. It was unadorned, and yet in its simplicity it is adorned. And I could see it as a wonderful cup. You know, so that's it. The beauty is that it holds something and it creates something, and yet it works both ways. It's the mountain and the valley. It's a reservoir and a cap. That's the way to grow up, honey. That's the way to grow up.
This is yummy. Hey, where's my...
Oh, cool.
There are ones everywhere. I selected this breast stupa because it would fit in the palm of my hand. And I liked how round it was and how subtle the curves were. Silver was so sort of firm and solid. It also felt really light because it would fit in my hand. It's like a baby. Look in the camera. What is this? What is that? This is Amelia. She loved the Stupa too.
You know, I thought it was fun on Wednesday when I was at the farmer's market to see figs. These are the first figs of this season. And their form is, especially as a whole, reminded me of the breast stupa, but also figs have other connotations of the female anatomy, and so I thought it was a fantastic pairing. And the fact that it's a milk-based dessert, I think is fitting as well.
It has the sensual and the sacredness.
Yes.
Both aspects.
Totally combined.
So to unmold them, we're putting the cold molds into this boiling water for a bit, and then so you melt out the panna cotta, and then put a knife through it, and then I'll shake it out.
I like to bang them. I do on the plate. Henry has a silent one.
Just shake the baby out.
You just want someone to sing. I like the variety of shapes.
I know.
I selected this breast stupa mainly because I think there's not a single place on this piece of artwork that you can tell exactly what the color is. Each of the spots kind of flow into each other as far as color. I liked how the color sort of changes as the artwork changes itself. Around the edges it's kind of a cooler, and then as you get in it becomes more yellow. I guess what I'm trying to say is the mood of the artwork changes as the figure changes. As it's wider, it's cooler, and then as you get smaller, it gets kind of lighter and brighter. Yeah.
It's very distinct in shape, in color, very dark in contrast. But probably more than anything, it's the inside that really attracted me to it. The irony is that it's so sharp and focused on the outside, but when you look in the inside, it actually starts to get sort of out of focus. I can't see the edges anymore, whereas on the outside you can definitely see the distinctive shape. So for me, looking at the inside of all these stupas, this was the one that I got lost into. The silver ones, if you look in the inside, had a very sharp contrast at the end, so you can definitely see the depth, whereas this one, the depth is sort of, has more freedom in depth. That's probably what attracted me to it.
I just want to share my experience of how I came up with this menu and sort of why. With the sorbet, I wanted something that was frozen so it would melt, and it is that ephemeral thing that will disappear. And it was in a small little breast stupa mold because it's sort of an adolescent breast that will go. Then we do have asparagus spears, which you can look at their shapes and think about what I'm where I'm going. But then you can go to our main course, and it's a larger mold, and there's it's really feeding us, and I think there is one association, of course, with breast, which is milk and life-giving, and so that's sort of what that main course is. And then I guess I will talk about the dessert. It's made of milk, and it's made of raw milk mostly, and raw cream, and it is cooked. I cooked it myself, but there's something in our country where we homogenize our food, and I think we do it the same way to bodies, and so that's where I was going with that. Okay, well, that's that.
I selected this breast stupa out of the entire array because it conveys to me the object and the concept most perfectly. As an object, I'm drawn to the aluminum, the reflective qualities. I'm drawn to this particular aluminum one because of the texture, which is very sensuous, and you want to stroke it. It's close to a human size. Obviously, many women might have breasts this size. The nipple or the nipple area seems to be erect, suggesting the sensual aspects of the breast. At the same time, it does remind me of the stupa. It has the rounded form rather than the conical form. It swells in the appropriate place. So as an object and as an expression of the idea, it seems to work most perfectly for me.
Well, I selected these stupas because they are similar but also different. They are similar in the sense that, well, first of all, I selected two metal ones because for some reason I always like metal. I have an affinity with metal. And these two in particular I liked because of the different surfaces. This one is nice and smooth and kind of shiny, while this one is more matte and rougher on the surface. And then in general, I think that the shapes themselves are very appealing because they always convey to me a sense of protection. And it might have something to do with the, with the primordial or birth-related idea of the breast or something. I don't know. But it's also like a dome, and the dome, it's for me the quintessential sense of protection. So I love the shapes in themselves, and I've always been very attracted by it, and I've always been very attracted by buildings that have domes on top. And then another thing is that when you put them together, you get an acorn. All right?
These folks got it.
Wow.
Should I hold it up? Blow it out.
You can make some cardboard from that.
Can I get one?
Until done.
I don't know if I can get this.
In looking back at last night at the Breast Stupa Cookery at Montalvo, I think it was a wonderful event. The space in which it happened was transformed. Pinnery and David really opened up sort of the common space, made it very warm with a few tables. It was just quite comfortable. The breast stupa form was everywhere last night. The stupa molds themselves are quite sculptural. Some are cast in aluminum, some are ceramic. They are glazed in a variety of gorgeous, vibrant colors. some are conical, some are very, round. Some have little points. I mean, they're just stimulating to look at. They were arranged on the tables where people were eating, just in the corners of the room. They had candles in them, some of them turned over, so sort of holding that light. And then, of course, they were vessels for the food, as well as becoming the molds for the food if they were, taken off, but then there's the phyllo dough that's now in the shape of the breast. So it was just sort of repeated everywhere. And I thought it was a great thing because other shapes became breast stupas as well. I looked at bowls differently. It just sort of opened my eyes. My name is Jessie Benthien. I am from New Hampshire. Spent a lot of time in northern New England, but I'm here in Northern California at Montalvo as a culinary fellow at an artist residency program.